This is me.
Just kidding. This is me.
My name is Amanda, and welcome to my podcast where I will be talking about pop culture, music,
Film, drama, and fan videos. Hello, and welcome back to my channel, Always Popular. I'm Amanda, your host, and let's jump into this week's episode. This week, I'm taking you back into mainstream pop music in the early 2000s when many female singers were labeled as sex symbol, provocative, or just copy clones of other people. Back in the early 2000s, it was very rare for a pop singer to go against the grain, be their own person, and not be considered pop love music. Some main names that come to mind is Pink, Avril Lavigne, Kelly Clarkson, and Michelle Branch. All of them achieved success back then, and most of them still do now. However, back then, I always thought they fell into the category of the underdogs of pop music, and still are in some way. Just recently, at the 2023 iHeartRadio Music Awards, Pink, who rocked her way into our hearts, received the Music Icon Award. So today, we're celebrating Pink, the underdog queen, who was born originally under the name Alicia Beth Moore, was born on September 8, 1979 to her parents, Judith and James. She grew up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Around the time she was 14, she started to perform in Philadelphia clubs. She was trained as a competitive gymnast between the ages of 4 to 12. By the time she started to perform in clubs, she adopted the name Pink. By the time she was 16, she joined two other girls, Sharon Flanagan and Chrissy Conway, for an R&B girl group called Choice. They got noticed by L.A. Reid, who overheard a song they did and arranged for the group to fly to Atlanta, Georgia, so he could see them perform in person. After that performance, he signed them to a record deal. However, unfortunately, they recorded a debut album, but it never got to see the light of day. LA gave Pink an ultimatum by telling her she should go solo or go home. Well, at least she had made a good choice. LA signed Pink under LA Phase Records and soon were working on her debut album, which would be titled as Can't Take Me Home. The album was released on April 4th, 2000. The hit song, There You Go, was released as her debut single alongside with hits like Most Girls and You Make Me Sick. The album received mixed to positive reviews. The album did really well worldwide too, and it went platinum in the UK and went multi-platinum in Australia and Canada. In the same year, she won Favorite New Artist of the Year at the Billboard Music Awards and went on tour as the supporting act for NSYNC. In 2001, she released a duet with Maya, Christina Aguilera, and Lil' Kim for the cover of Lady Marmalade for the movie Moulin Rouge, and it became Pink's first #1 hit song and became the most successful airplay-only single. It also helped Pink win the VMA for Video of the Year and her first Grammy as well for Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. Following up after that success, she started working on a new album, her sophomore album, titled Misunderstood. She wanted to do a different sound and wanted more creative control on her album. During this time, there were many pop singers who were very similar to each other, and mainly, if you grew up to female artists in the early 2000s, you might know what I'm talking about. From the likes of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Mandy Moore, and Jessica Simpson, all these girls were all tall, skinny, and blonde girls who had similar looks and images in bubblegum pop music. She was like an underdog during this time because all these girls seemed more successful and commercial than she was. I felt that she was underappreciated. Also, Pink didn't want to be lumped into that category and was tired of being marketed as another cookie-cutter pop act. So that's why Pink took creative control to make better music and be taken seriously as an artist and musician. She's been credited as a game changer because of her stylistic choices. She released her sophomore album, Misunderstood, captivated a lot of new listeners. Her upbeat banger, The Party Started, helped her image and sound a lot. She was referred to by the media as the anti-Britney and labeled probably a rebel as well. Well, at least it worked in her favor. From this album, she recruited Linda Perry, who is best known for writing Beautiful for Christina Aguilera. She was one of Pink's favorite singers. Alongside with this album, the hits Don't Let Me Get Me, Just Like a Pill, and Family Portrait were released as the other singles and were successful as well. Just Like a Pill became her second #1 hit in the UK. The album became the 8th best-selling album of 2002 globally and got certified 5 times platinum by the RIAA in the US. This album of hers is her most successful best-selling album with more than 12 million copies sold. At the time of 2003, she released her third album, Try This, was released on November 11th. Unfortunately, it didn't have the same success and the album underperformed her second album. However, it still managed to be certified platinum in the US. The most successful song off the album was Trouble. The song helped her earn a Grammy for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. The song ended up being featured in multiple hit movies like White Chicks, The Princess Diaries 2, and even Tangled. And she toured to promote this album. Reception for the album got better, particularly in Australia and Europe. She took a break, got signed to a new label that helped her with her new sound, and came back with her successful follow-up fourth studio album, I'm Not Dead. The album was just as big as Misunderstood. The album had hit songs like Stupid Girls, Dear Mr. President, Who Knew, You're in Your Hand, and Nobody Knows. They were all radio-friendly, fun songs, except for Dear Mr. President, which was a serious ballad directed at George W. Bush at the time. Stupid Girls came along as her most successful song from the album and won the VMA for Best Pop Video and got nominated for a Grammy. And this song of hers also got some backlash as well from the general public, saying Pink was being hypocritical for making fun of other girls and she's acting the same exact way. Technically, that's not true because the song was intended to inspire younger girls to be independent, not act a certain way for people to like them. It's supposed to be a motivational song to be yourself, not slut-shaming other singers. To be honest, I'm glad the song was created because it taught me not to be anorexic. It taught me to lose weight the right way, no matter how much I hated my body when I was younger. Anyway, moving on to the other song. The others were danceable, fun songs, like the guitar-driven song Who Knew and the sassy You in Your Hand were bangers right off the bat. The album landed at number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart and was the second best-selling album of 2006 and 2007. Since then, the album has sold over 2 million copies in the US. In 2008, she released another album called Funhouse, and it spawned the hit song So What, Glitter in the Air, Sober, Please Don't Leave Me. So What is definitely her catchiest song. It was huge when it first came out. Glitter in the Air got more attention after she started performing it live while doing aerial dances, like her Grammy performance in 2010. It was one of Pink's most praised performances of her career. In 2010, she released a greatest hits album along with 2 new songs called Raise Your Glass and Fucking Perfect. Raise Your Glass became a top 10 hit and Fucking Perfect number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. In 2012, she released a new album called The Truth About Love. The lead single off this album was Blow Me One Last Kiss, along with other hit songs like Just Give Me a Reason with Nate from Fun and Try. The album became the 6th best-selling album of 2012 and her first number 1 hit album. Try became a top 10 hit, and her performance of the song on the American Music Awards got a lot of praise from her longtime fans. Just Give Me a Reason was her most successful song from the album. The song got nominated for 2 Grammys and was the 4th best-selling single of 2013 with 9.9 million copies sold. Also, this year her tour, The Truth About Love Tour, held the number 1 spot on the Hot Tours list. In 2013, Billboard named Pink Woman of the Year. She had the 3rd best-selling tour of 2013, according to Billboard. She was also the 9th grossing music act in 2013 with $20 million earned. In 2016, she wrote the track Just Like Fire for the soundtrack for Alice Through the Looking Glass, which became a top 10 hit song and got nominated for a Grammy for Best Song Written for a Visual Media. In 2017, she took a break to write her next album, her 7th studio album. That album was called Beautiful Trauma. The album was released on August 10th, 2017, and had What About Us as the lead single. Also in the same year, she was awarded with the Michael Jackson Vanguard Award at the VMAs. Beautiful Trauma got nominated for Best Pop Album at the Grammys, making it her 20th nomination. She was then featured on Elton John's song called Benny and the Jets, along with rapper Logic. By the time of 2019, she released her 8th album, Hurts to Be Human, on April 26th. The lead single from this album was Walk Me Home. By the end of the year, Pulsar named Pink Artist of the Year. And in 2020, she announced she was going on hiatus to take a break. Flash forward to this year, 2023, she released a new album called Trustful and will be touring again this year. In addition, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2019. She has been credited for breaking boundaries and pushing the envelope in pop music throughout her career. She's regarded as the most trailblazing artist of her pop generation, according to the media. She stood up, took charge, and broke the mold. And if it wasn't for her, I feel like pop rock music wouldn't be where it is today. Without her experimentation, many other people wouldn't have done or made pop rock music like Avril Lavigne, Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, and even Kelly Clarkson. Truthfully, the most underrated trailblazer in pop culture. Despite of how successful she has become, she's still underappreciated. She deserves more credit and attention. Before I go, do you think Pink deserves more? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, thanks for listening and watching, and you'll hear me in the next episode.